Imagine turning up at a family reunion with a DNA test in one hand and a very confident family tree in the other. The tree says you descend from someone who lived 300 years ago. The DNA test says nothing about them, not a hint. Apparently, your ancestor has been removed from the building. But the family tree may be completely correct. You can be directly descended from someone and inherit no DNA from that person. They are your genealogical ancestor, but not your genetic ancestor. That sounds impossible, because we usually treat ancestry like paint. Mix enough ancestors together, and everyone should leave at least one tiny colored speck. DNA does not work like infinitely divisible paint. It works more like a fixed-size carry-on bag being packed by an increasingly large family. Your parents get the first turn. In ordinary sexual reproduction, you receive half of your nuclear DNA from each parent. Most of your cells carry 23 pairs of chromosomes. For each pair, one came through your mother and one through your father. So far, the packing is tidy. Mom gets half the suitcase, dad gets half. There may even be a small argument about whose socks are whose. Now add your 4 grandparents. You might expect exactly 1/4 of your DNA from each. On average, that is right. But the actual amounts can vary because your parents did not hand you a perfectly measured quarter from each grandparent. When egg and sperm cells are made, paired chromosomes line up and exchange sections. This process is called recombination. A chromosome your mother passes to you may be a patchwork of DNA from her mother and father. One section from grandma, another from grandpa, then grandma again, like a scarf assembled by someone who lost the instructions. After recombination, each egg or sperm receives one chromosome from each pair. Which pieces make it through is partly random. Your parent still gives you half of their nuclear DNA, but they do not give you half of every ancestor represented inside it. This distinction is the whole trick. The amount from each parent is fixed. The amount from each grandparent is variable. Farther back, the variation becomes large enough for some ancestors to contribute nothing at all. Suppose one particular great-great-great-grandmother contributed a few pieces of DNA to your grandparent. Your grandparent might pass some of those pieces to your parent, or they might pass different pieces. Then your parent gets another chance to lose what remains. The family line continues, but that ancestor's genetic luggage may be left circling an ancient baggage carousel. If you enjoy good explanations supported by drawings with uncertain artistic ancestry, subscribe. The reason this loss becomes unavoidable is that two things grow at very different speeds. Your genealogical family tree grows roughly by doubling. 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents. If every position were occupied by a different person, 10 generations back would contain 1,024 ancestral positions in that generation alone. Your genome does not double to make room. You do not grow another set of chromosomes whenever somebody discovers a parish record. The suitcase stays approximately the same size. Recombination does cut chromosomes into more ancestral pieces over generations. That lets you carry DNA from more than just 46 distant people. But the number of pieces grows far more slowly than the number of positions in the family tree. Eventually, there are more ancestors trying to contribute pieces than there are surviving pieces to carry. Some get a large section. Some get a tiny section. Some receive the biologically prestigious award of absolutely nothing. Models of human recombination suggest that for one particular ancestor 10 generations back, the chance they contributed no autosomal DNA to you is already around half. By about 14 generations, the chance is roughly 95%. These are approximate probabilities, not a countdown timer. Recombination varies across the genome, and real family trees are much messier than the simple doubling model. But the direction is clear. As you travel back, your genealogical ancestors multiply rapidly, while the fraction who contributed DNA to you shrinks. There is another complication. 10 generations back, you probably do not have 1,024 unique ancestors. Family trees fold in on themselves. Distant cousins have children together. Small communities contain the same people through several branches. An individual may appear in your tree more than once. This is called pedigree collapse, which sounds dramatic, but mostly means the family tree has stopped behaving like a tree and become an aggressively tangled hedge. Pedigree collapse can increase the chance of inheriting DNA from someone because that person may have several roots leading down to you. But it does not solve the suitcase problem. Go back far enough and the number of genealogical ancestors still becomes much larger than the number of people whose DNA segments survive in your genome. This creates what researchers sometimes call ghost ancestors. These are real ancestors with living descendants who left no genetic material in a particular descendant. Mathematical models even allow a stranger possibility. Someone can become a genealogical ancestor of an enormous population, while eventually leaving no DNA in that population at all. Their descendants survived. Their genome did not. That is because genealogy spreads through people, while DNA spreads through particular copied segments. A person can have 2 children. Those children can have more children, and the family can expand across centuries. Meanwhile, at every birth, only a sample of the available DNA moves forward. This matters when interpreting consumer DNA tests. If a documented distant ancestor came from a particular population, you might expect that population to appear in your ancestry estimate. But if the connection comes through one person many generations ago, their DNA may never have reached you. Or it may have reached you in a segment too small or too ordinary for the test statistical methods to assign confidently. Those are different situations. In one, you inherited none of that ancestor's autosomal DNA. In the other, you inherited something, but the test cannot identify it reliably. Consumer tests examine selected genetic markers and compare patterns with reference groups. They are not tiny detectives interviewing every dead relative. So the absence of a result does not automatically disprove a distant paper trail. It also does not prove the family story is true. The records could be wrong. The estimate could change as reference databases and methods change. Or the ancestor's contribution could simply have vanished during inheritance. Siblings make this easier to see. Full siblings usually share about half their DNA, but not the same half from each parent. One sibling may carry a segment from a distant ancestor that another sibling completely missed. This is why testing several relatives can reveal more family history than testing one person. Together, relatives preserve a larger collection from the ancestral suitcase. There are also special inheritance paths that behave differently. Mitochondrial DNA is generally passed from mothers to their children, although only daughters normally continue passing it onward. A Y-chromosome is usually passed along a direct father-to-son line. These can preserve information along narrow branches for many generations. But narrow is the important word. Your mitochondrial DNA follows one line through your mother, her mother, her mother, and so on. At 10 generations back, that is one position out of many. It can tell a useful story about that line, while saying nothing about the large crowd standing beside it. And when we say an ancestor left you no DNA, we mean no segment inherited from that specific person along the family path being discussed. You still share most human DNA with them because you are both human. If the same variant also entered your family through another branch, you may carry it from someone else. Genetics enjoys making simple sentences request legal representation. The larger lesson is that a genome is not a complete family archive. It is one surviving sample. Every generation copied it, shuffled it, cut it into sections, and packed only half into the next bag. The family tree records who was involved in producing the chain of people that led to you. Your genome records which pieces happen to survive that chain. Those records answer different questions. An ancestor can shape your existence without leaving a detectable molecule behind. They may have moved to a new country, taught a language, changed a surname, bought land, started a tradition, or made one extremely consequential romantic decision near a barn. None of that needs to remain encoded in your chromosomes to remain part of your history. So, your family tree is not hidden inside your DNA, waiting to be fully downloaded. The tree is the complete passenger list. Your genome is the one battered carry-on that arrived with you. You came from everyone on the list. You just did not get everyone's luggage.